Be sure to finish setting the table before tonight's newscast.
Here are some of the reports we'll be serving you. A San Antonio man is angry that the Department of Public Works intends to drain a sedimentation tank onto a nearby beach, right behind his house, actually.
And dancers at the Hyatt Hotel say they help to keep island's culture alive with nightly performances for the island's tourists.
Tourists and locals alike are gathering for fresh draft beer at Micronesia's only microbrewery.
That's just a taste of all the reports that are brewing for tonight's KMCV News.
Buenas noches para todos. Hamzu Tata Saipan Luta Dantinian. Guahu si Carlota Delian Guerrero.
Good evening and welcome to the midweek cast of KMCV News. I'm Glenn Wakai. We'll have weather and sports in just a few minutes, but the budget takes center stage. The on-again, off-again fiscal year 1993 budget is on again. Only one issue still stands in its way, the increased reprogramming authority that House and Senate members want to grant the governor for the remainder of the fiscal year. Today, Senate President Juan Demopon sent a letter to House Speaker Tomas Villagomez stating that the Senate is willing to give up its stance on the lapse and full-time employee issue. That leaves only the reprogramming authority in question. The legal counsels for both sides are working on the language of how to go about this matter. Demopon says the Senate wants the governor to have complete control over the lapses. However, the law now limits his reprogramming authority to only 25% of the total lapse funds. Both House and Senate leaders are hopeful that a budget for fiscal year 93 will pass.
Every week, the government issues a report advising islanders to avoid swimming in water polluted with fecal coliform bacteria. The reports go on to state that the contamination is often caused by the runoff of rainwater. San Antonio resident Pedro Castro is confused. Why would the government warn against the danger and then turn around and release concentrated runoff sediment onto a popular beachfront? Here's that story. Pedro Castro is running for the House of Representatives from Precinct 1. He says he's concerned about the environment and intends to safeguard it as much as possible, especially when he sees a potential problem in his own backyard. Castro says the Department of Public Works built a sedimentation tank here to catch the overflow of water from heavy rain. Castro lives in the closest house to the site, and he says he experiences flooding, as do other people in the surrounding area. He says evidently the tank is now full, and DPW inspectors told him they're going to break a hole in it and allow the contents to flow onto the beach. Castro says he'll handcuff himself to the site and force cops to haul him away if that's what it takes. He says he's concerned about everyone's health.
I firmly believe that there is an effect environmentally and to us over here who live nearby. I am a subsistence fisherman, and most of the time I get fish from out here. So not necessarily that, but I know for sure that these people would get sick if they are to continue swimming around this area.
Now, one of the proposed solutions that you'd heard of was that it would be piped over the reef.
That's what one of the alternatives they gave me. One of the public works officers informed me that they have sufficient pipe to connect this drainage out to the reef. So I tend to agree with their proposal.
DPW Director Elizabeth Balahaja says her office has spent 3 years trying to convince Castro that just a little water will run off when they insert an overflow pipe into the tank. She says right now DPW and civil defense crews have to come to the area every time it rains heavily to pump out the flooded area. The overflow pipe will not reach the reef, she says. That's a long-term solution. And while Castro is concerned about the water pollution, just feet away from the site is pollution of a different sort. Garbage covers the ground near a picnic table. Castro says this is an easier problem to rectify.
I think we personally can handle this. We can collect this and dump them in the garbage can where they belong. But mostly my concern is to let, if I let this drainage out to the beach, it will pollute more the water than the one we are now seeing down here.
There was a development to this story late this afternoon. Castro was able to bring together officials from the Division of Environmental Quality and the Coastal Resource Management Office. The representatives gathered around a list of DEQ and CRM approved projects to see if the proper paperwork had been granted. Castro says no permit was issued. Government officials declined to talk to us on camera. DPW Director Liz Balahaja says Sablan Construction stopped work because it did not want to deal with Castro. We'll have more as this story develops.
The Marianas Visitors Bureau keeps a close eye on where the Commonwealth's 500,000 tourists a year are coming from. The information is relayed on to interested parties via the Visita Marianas, MVB's newsletter. Here's a look at what the MVB has been up to. Since the end of July, 437,026 tourists have visited the Commonwealth. That shows an 8% increase over last year's figure at this point in the fiscal year, 401,585. The visitor arrival figures for 5 months of the fiscal year have risen in double digits over the arrival figures from the year before. The months with the highest increase were October through January, and then again in March. The slower months were February, figures rose just 5% from the previous year. April, only a 3% increase over fiscal 92. The month of May remained the same, and July showed an increase of 8% over July of 92. The only month showing a decrease was June, when arrivals dipped 1% over the previous year's arrival volume. Fiscal year 92 ended with a visitor arrival total of 488,330. The CNMI anticipated topping the 500,000 mark this year, and with the earthquake damage on Guam and the diversion of guests here, at least for the next few months, that goal should easily be attained. Of the 437,034 visitors to the Commonwealth so far, 69%, or 301,516, came from Japan. That figure represents an increase of 6% over 92. The arrivals from Guam decreased by 1%. Hong Kong arrivals also decreased, 3% drop there. The Taiwan market shows a healthy increase, 19% rise in volume. The development of the Australia market, though, hasn't been quite as successful. Since the beginning of the fiscal year, there's been a steady drop in arrivals from Down Under. 32% fewer visitors arrived this year. The drop in Australian visitors has resulted in the canceling of the route. Continental Micronesia has announced that it will stop flying to Australia in October of this year. The biggest market increase, though, was in the visitor arrival figures from Korea, an 88% increase over the previous year, from 22,425 in 1992 to almost double that in 93, 42,266. The Marianas Visitors Bureau is doing all it can to develop the Korea market. According to their newsletter, they participated 2 months ago in the first KATA Congress. KATA stands for Korean Association of Travel Agents. While in Seoul, Korea, MVB officials talked with over 3,000 people about the NMI's tourist facilities and activities. According to recent statistics, a total of 1.5 million tourists visited the Marianas and Micronesian Islands last year. Industry leaders envision cracking the 2 million mark within the next few years.
Here are more figures to throw at you. 800 students signed up for college classes this past week, a decrease from the spring semester.
And a healthy increase in tourists, as we said, especially from Korea. Those stories next. Special Supreme Court Judge Larry Hillblum has lost the sight in his right eye as a result of injuries received in a plane crash 16 days ago. This is according to United Micronesia Development Association President Joe Wechter. Hillblum was testing the new engine in his Cessna plane Sunday, August 15th, when the plane crashed just off the Tinian runway. According to an eyewitness account of the crash, Hillblum's plane flipped over seconds after takeoff and slammed into an ironwood tree. Hillblum was the most seriously injured of the 3 people in the plane, receiving facial lacerations, broken ribs, and broken facial bones, as well as a broken hand. Wechter says Hillblum will be recovering from his injuries in a San Francisco hospital through October.
The college's fall semester is traditionally a term many students skip. Northern Marianas College administrators say recent high school graduates want a little time to relax after 12 years of basic education. Registration statistics released by Northern Marianas College today indicate that this fall is no exception. About 800 students have signed up for classes, 200 less than the number usually signing up in the spring. They expect about 100 more to come in during this week's late registration period. College officials hope that even more students decide to hit the books, not only for their own good, but also for the betterment of the Commonwealth.
So if you won't have time this semester, how about next semester? We want to really encourage all our citizens in the CNMI to have a college experience, because that would really make a difference in our self-government.
A brighter life in the future, you need to have high education so that you can be more successful in whatever career you're trying to seek for.
Late registration at the college ends this Friday.
Exit surveys of the thousands of tourists who visit the island each year indicate a desire for more cultural events. One local dance group showcases their cultural heritage nightly. Ninette Miranda reports on how tourism helps the arts to flourish.
Cultural shows are a rarity on Saipan. The Mai Tai dance troupe is one of the few groups that offers tourists a glimpse into the local and regional cultures.
So far, we don't have any competition.
There's definitely a need to offer more of these kinds of shows. Performers say the tourists are willing to pay good money for it, which in turn benefits the local economy.
They come in, they watch the show, they pay for it, and we do get, most of the money from that.
Their stage manager, Palota Taumu, says the Visitors Bureau should pay more attention to entertaining the tourists beyond the landmarks.
Apart from sightseeing and going around the island and stuff like that, I think entertainment is a very strong part of the income for CNMI.
The fun that tourists have usually entices their friends to take the same vacation.
They get good impressions. I mean, they love the show. They really concentrate, and plus we make them join in some of the numbers. For example, Samoan number, they join in it. So it's really great. I think they love it.
Apparently, it's not that difficult to be able to offer more cultural entertainment. Money, of course, always stands in the way of any venture, but the dance steps are easy. Even I was able to learn the moves in one short lesson.
The movements, it's quite easy once you learn the basic steps, but you just gotta be relaxed when you practice, and plus when you're in front of audience.
A move to create a performing arts center has long been in the works. Some say this would be a perfect way to showcase the local heritage. But this project has been pushed to the back burner several times. Until the center gets serious attention, questionable entertainment is the impression tourists leave with. In Garapan, Ninette Miranda for KMCV News.
There's something brewing in San Roque. Information leaked to the KMCV newsroom indicates golden liquid is flowing through huge vats. Our investigative team was foaming at the mouth for this tasty assignment. When you take a swig of beer, what you're consuming is essentially a mixture of water, yeast, sugar, and malt that's gotten stale. A fresh approach to brewing dramatically cuts down on the standard 2-month fermenting process. Boga Boga Beer General Manager Kazutero Suda describes a patented super brew system.
It takes about 3 days. It's very fast. That's because of bioreactor that we use. Every experts of the industry of beer in the world now pay attention on this brewing system.
Sudo says the reduction in time doesn't affect the quality of the beer. In fact, he says time is one of beer's biggest enemies.
Taking time is not so good for beer to maintain its quality. But here we can supply beer which is just freshly brewed.
Sudo says the super brew system saves a lot of money compared to conventional methods. The faster process allows for more productivity, and the compact equipment frees up space at a plant. Sudo says there are plans to expand on the 2,000 liters of beer manufactured each week. He hopes to have Boga Boga draft offered at many of Saipan's bars. All these bells and whistles are neat to look at, but how does the end product taste?
They like the beer. Most of my customers keep on coming back here just to taste the beer. Some of them coming from Guam, coming from Hawaii. They take their vacation, then they go here.
Don't let the expression on this guy's face fool you.
Delicious. Good taste.
Tastes good.
Good. Maroyaka.
What does maroika mean?
Maroyaka means soft.
It goes down very smooth.
Yes.
You think you're gonna have a lot more before the end of the day?
Yes. Of course, sure.
Sudo hopes customers like this will remember Boga Boga for its taste and its catchy name.
We derive this words from the Spanish word boga, which meaning something special, something popular, or something fashionable. And we put two bogas together so that it sounds something like Pacific or something like Micronesia or tropical, I would say.
Speaking of something fashionable, we have Long Shot Willie. Have you ever tried some of that Boga Boga beer?
No, I haven't tried it. Did you?
Yeah, we kind of were forced to.
Yeah, you
It
gotta
was-
taste it to make a comparison.
Yeah, it was maroika, I guess.
Well, we got the scores in Major League Baseball. One game went 22 innings, and all our All-Stars are back home. The Little Leaguers arrived this morning, and KMCV Sports was lucky to catch them up at Capitol Hill. They returned from the Little League World Series with a 1-2 record, and it was a first for Saipan to participate. We talked to Coach Connie on what he thought about the games and what our All-Stars can do to compete next year.
The other two teams that we played, we could have won those two games. But because given enough time to recuperate from the trip from home, they could have won those two games.
Now that you've seen how the other regions, what kind of players they have, any special things that you bring back to try coaching the players here so that when hopefully next tournament, maybe next season, we have a chance?
Oh yeah, we'll try next year with our best to teach the kids more in hitting and fielding also.
One of our umpires, Mario Taitano, was fortunate enough to travel to the World Series. He wanted to ump a game but needed reference from our regional administrator. We talked to Mario about an umpire's point of view.
According to the DA, Congressman Tony Camacho, he has worked out a deal with Mr. Frank Lappuccino to have umpires clinic conducted here. That will happen in the future, and we wanted all managers and coaches to attend this clinic, which would eventually also certifies individuals to become Little League umpires. And the intention here is to also invite participants in this clinic from the other Micronesian islands so that they can expand their program.
The players each received a medallion, t-shirt, and a cap as participants in the World Series. We talked to all the players on what they liked the most about the series. Most of them said they like making friends and playing ball.
Meeting new friends. I like meeting new friends. The best thing I like about there is people asking for your autograph, and it's the first time I ever saw a stadium.
Playing the game and meeting new friends from countries like around the world.
Making new friends, and for the first time we've been there, and people are kind to us.
It was a hard game, but fun in the same time.
What was the most fun thing?
The stadium.
What about it?
It's big and it's nice. It feels good because pitching to different countries is so exciting.
What did you like the most?
Playing.
Why?
Because I love baseball.
Once again, we would like to congratulate our All-Stars on their performance and participation in the Little League World Series. And that ends the Miller Sports page. I'm Long Shot Willie. Don't go away. Vicky will be back with the weather report.
A weak low pressure area to the west of Guam, which is producing mostly cloudy skies with rain shower, may be the result of the rain that we have been getting, although it's moving away from our area and sunny skies may now be out. Now let's take a look at what's in store for us this evening. For tonight, expect mostly cloudy skies with light to moderate showers, winds southerly 5 to 10 miles per hour with gusts to 15 miles per hour near showers, and the low temperature in the mid-70s. Seas tonight will be slight to moderate 2 to 4 feet, surf conditions 3 to 5 feet on northeastern clockwise through southern exposures and 1 to 3 feet elsewhere. Our tide table indicates 2 sets of high and low tide. Our first tide will be a high of 2.3 feet due up at 8:27, and the tide will drop to a low of 8/10 of a foot at 2:17 early tomorrow morning. And again, expect a high of 2.2 feet at 8:03 and a low of -4/10 of a foot at 2:25 tomorrow afternoon. The sun will set at 6:33 and sunrise tomorrow morning will be at 6:09. And for tomorrow's forecast, expect mostly cloudy skies with isolated light to moderate showers and offshore thunder showers and high temperature in the upper 80s. And that's about it for our weather report.
And we're out of time. Stay tuned next for Santo Siete News in Chamorro with Vicky Tadella. After that, join us for a rebroadcast of the John Anderson call-in show, followed by a paid airing of the Victims of Article 12 video. Be sure and join us next week, Wednesday, when John's guest will be former Governor Dr. Carlos Camacho, the chairman of the Democratic Party. Enjoy your evening of television viewing, and we'll see you back again tomorrow night. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.